My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. Now, what we're going to be doing today is something that's kind of a result of popular demand. A lot of folks were asking, what does a budget look like for a family? And this kind of came out of the budget we did just a little bit ago as just being a single person up here in Alaska. So now the request is, what does it look like if you are a family? Let's just say a family of 2 kids, so 4 people total. What does that look like up here? So that's what we're going to be going over. We'll jump into that in just a second. If you haven't done so already, do give this video a like. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe. And without further ado, let's go and jump into kind of the update that we have here. Or I'm sorry, not the update, the budget for what it looks like for a family of 4. This was a pretty interesting one to do. I just posted on Facebook and just asked, hey, for those of you who are parents out here in Alaska, what are some expenses beyond like the basics? And I got nearly 90 comments within 24 hours from parents and all the different layers here. So I'm looking forward to bringing that knowledge here to you. Keep in mind, these are going to be generalizations, and it's all going to be contingent on the lifestyle that you have for yourself and your family, what your priorities are, and there's so many other factors that are going to go into it. But this is just to give you a general idea for what a budget might look like up here in Alaska. And obviously, the biggest factor on what it's going to look like is going to be the needs of your family, what your activities are, and everything else that goes along with it. So without further ado, let's go and jump into the budget and show you what we're seeing. It's going to be roughly about $74,000. So when you break that down to a monthly income, that's going to be about $6,195. So that's starting off pretty good. Now let's break it down a little bit more and see what we're looking at as far as the monthly expenses. So for rent/mortgage, we're going to put about $1,900. That does include property taxes in there if you are currently owning. For looking at the utilities, it's going to fluctuate by the time of year, right? During the wintertime, you're going to spend more on utilities just because it's going to be hotter outside. Even for the water bill, if you have a water heater keeping everything warm, then that's what you're going to use there, and it's going to be pretty low during the summertime. But on average, we're going to say about $150, $170, $100, and then $30 for trash. For car payments, it's going to depend on if you have a car payment. Obviously, it's best if you do not, but if you do, we're just going to budget in about $400 just to give you some numbers to work with. For internet, we're going to go ahead and give you about $100 there. You know what? Let's go and just say like $100. Just give ourselves a little bit of padding. If we're doing a cell phone plan for 2 phones, full plans with texting, internet, and all that, we're going to say about $300, I should say. Obviously, it kind of depends on how old your kiddos are. For groceries and food, I think it's very possible to do this on $800 a month, but it's also going to depend on how often you eat out and what your lifestyle is around food. If people are going to go over budget, it is typically going to be in this line item with food. But for auto insurance, for full insurance, we're looking at about $300 for full coverage for 2 cars. For entertainment, we're going to give ourselves about $100 there. Miscellaneous, I don't like having miscellaneous items in a budget, but we're going to say $100. Clothes and shoes. If you're pretty thrifty, then you should be able to get a lot of good stuff at some used clothes outlets, and that should work pretty well. If you want to get all brand new stuff, it can get a little expensive around kind of seasonally going into winter. So we're going to say about $50 a month for clothes and shoes. And obviously, you're just saving up for the time when you're about to make a big money dump. So babysitters, I might be laughed out of town here. I'm going to say about $50 a month on that. That's just kind of a guess. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sports, these can get very expensive in Alaska. If you're doing a hockey, you're pretty much going to have to take a second mortgage out on the house. Somebody was telling me like minimum $6,000 for something like hockey, but it really depends on which sport that you're doing. But we're going to budget about $200 a month for that. For Disney Plus, apparently that's a necessity according to a lot of parents. We're going to say $8 for that. Car, gas for the car, we're going to say about $150 there. Depends how much you drive, obviously. Vacation, we're going to start budgeting about $400 a month, so you can go somewhere during the wintertime. And then for other kids' birthday parties, which, let's face it, that is going to happen more often than not, we're going to put $25 in there. Because if you have little kids, they're going to be invited to stuff, and guess who's going to be buying the birthday presents? So we're going to say about $25 for that, just to plan ahead of time. So we break everything down here. The monthly income is roughly $6,200. The monthly expenses, according to what we're projected here, is going to be roughly about $5,380, which gives you a monthly savings of about $812. Obviously, there are a lot of variables here, and this is also assuming you have this kind of median income up here. So this is just kind of a basic idea for what a budget might look like up here for a family of 4. It really depends on the age of the kids you have and a host of other variables, but take it what it is just kind of an attempt to give you a feel for what you can expect up here. All right, well, that is a wrap. So that is our budget for family of 4 moving up here to Alaska, what that's going to look like. Keep in mind, like we've said before, these are all generalizations, and they could be higher, they could be lower, just depending on what it is that you're looking specifically at each one of these categories. So I sure hope you're able to get some value out of it. If you do have some questions for me, do reach out to me through my Facebook page. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below. If you have any general questions, comment section is great for that. Additionally, if you have any questions also on what it looks like moving up here to Alaska, do check out my relocation guide. That is going to be in the description section down below. You just go to my website, register, and put like relocation guide or something like that in the comments, so I know that's what you're looking for. But other than that, hope this was useful, and we'll see you next time.